I appreciate Gary Franchi holding for 15 minutes, but we have breaking news here. There is a new film that he and William Lewis have made. It's Enemy of the State, Camp FEMA Part 2, featuring Alex Jones, Travis Maddox, Stuart Rhodes, Ernie Hancock, Michael Bagnerick, Chuck Baldwin, James Lane, and many others. And reviewing this, I don't think graphically, because they didn't have as much time, it looks as good as Camp FEMA Part 1, but the info in it is much more powerful. Eyewitness security people, that's already confirmed they've trained for mass arrest and forced quarantine and forced inoculations, but to have the security people admitting it and finding designated emergency areas that can be used as FEMA camps. I mean, they went out on the road, in the field. And Enemy of the State is available at Infowars.com, discounted on the site with other films, Infowars.com, or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. And a lot of you are like, look, we know about the Model Health States Emergency Powers Act. We know about the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. We know about the Emergency Centers Act. Well, your friends and family and neighbors don't. This is a film that needs to be seen. Enemy of the State, Camp FEMA Part 2, it has really powerful information in it. And so overall, I'd say it's even more important than the first Camp FEMA. And again, it's available at Infowars.com. Speaking about this with us here is Gary Franchi, founder of the Lone Lantern Society. He also took over for the late Aaron Russo with Restore the Republic. And he's having a great effect out there. And Gary, it's good to have you here with us.
Alex, it's always a pleasure to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
What did you think of the Lindsey Williams info?
You know, it's frightening, to say the least. You know, talking about, you know, the new currency and the collapse of the dollar, just basically bracing for impact. And, you know, the people need to be informed. You're doing a hell of a job, you know, getting people informed. Lindsey Williams is a great guest, and, you know, he's got the information people need to hear and take to heart without question, and just prepare for the hard times ahead, because the more the Fed prints the money, the worse position we're going to be. I mean, I'm watching gold prices right now. They're at nearly $1,400 an ounce, and that's almost double from a year ago. So it's ridiculous to see what is happening in this country, and that's all the more reason why they're amping up the police state and getting these camps ready that we actually went and saw.
Well, that's what's important, is you show how the military is training to put people in camps and how it's admitted. And now it's even on local news here in Austin. It's on national news that, yeah, the Army is going to be in the threat integration fusion centers. Yeah, we are preparing. And I hear the Army on local radio going, well, you better be glad we're getting ready because of the collapse. And they act like, and they're telling the troops that they just thought of this now because of the problems, as if the government didn't engineer it. And look at the riots in Europe. I mean, they have planned this whole thing out, and gold is at $1,395.50 right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to watch this all unfold. But I think what really stands out and what separates this version of Camp FEMA from the original is the interview that we did with Travis Maddox, who is the former police officer and Constitution Party candidate for Congress, who revealed his personal training by the Department of Homeland Security. He was the man who was tasked to kick in your door and drag you out to the inoculation center, strip search you, and then drag you off to the quarantine centers. Okay, that interview, without that interview, I don't think this film could have really had the same impact.
Well, I agree with you. Do you agree with me? I mean, because I just honestly review films, and I've had films like this too, where we, put them out quickly. It's emergency info. It's well produced. It just graphically isn't as fancy as the first Camp FEMA, but I think the information is even more powerful.
Well, you know how to make films, Alex, and what it takes is it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of compilation and going back and forth, and we've got to get the information out. We're in a time pressure situation.
Oh, yeah, I've been working on 2 films for 2 years, and I finally just got to put them out. I mean, but again, it's very well produced. I'm just saying the info is more powerful than the last one's my point.
Well, the information is powerful, and the interviews are strong, and I think also, we have James Lane in there from Radio Free Oklahoma, and his work, he took us on the ground to the Lucent Technologies building that was actually used as a center for FEMA in the event of a national emergency. I mean, there it is. It's right there.
Yeah, they've got Walmart distribution centers, all of them, they're designated. They're just waiting. I mean, you identify a real center that's admitted to be used during emergencies.
Absolutely. It's right there. And, you know, our first film, we would have liked to travel more, but because we had support of our viewers out there and people purchased the documentary, we were able to go out and actually put our boots on the ground like we wanted to do in the first one. And I just want to thank everyone out there for supporting us.
Absolutely. We got to go to break, Gary. Folks, get the film, Infowars.com, Enemy of the State, Camp FEMA Part 2, featuring yours truly and others. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Got Michelle in here. I'm not going to say her last name. Worked here 5 years, done a great job. Her children play with my children. They're similar in age. And it is on the Drudge Report right now, one of the main stories. The link to our video that's on Infowars.com. And I'm pulling that up right now so I can give you the actual headline. It's TSA fondles woman and children refusing airport naked body scanners. And yesterday, I was interspersing comments. I want her to be able to tell the story from start to finish. It'll take her a few minutes, so it's on record for people. Because she came up to me yesterday when I was, during a break, peering over news articles, and she said, I was just listening to you. She's in customer service. She said, I was just listening to you. And that just happened to me when I went to Colorado with my two daughters 2 weeks ago. And so we're so conditioned, myself included, that I hadn't even asked her when she got back what happened going through Denver on the way back to Austin where they have the naked body scanners. And when she wouldn't do it, they yelled, opt out. But she's going to tell you the story. And then it's on the news. They admit it. They squeeze your private parts. They go between your legs. And a man did it to her. I mean, this is really happening. And this is now happening to reporters for the New York Times, and they're writing about it. I mean, this happened to ABC News reporters. People are getting mad. And if they can train us to accept literally being fondled and molested, and that's what it is. Well, Gary Franchi, what's your take on this? Because I know you've covered the naked body scanners.
Well, Alex, I think that, aside from the Federal Reserve, the greatest threat to America is the Department of Homeland Security. And, the TSA falls under that category. When I've gone through airports and I've seen when I went through Utah, they put me through the line and they said, well, which one do you want to go in? And I said, well, I don't want to go in the body scanner. I think I'm going to go into this other line here for the traditional method. I'm sort of afraid of that.
And they tried to make people do it, but so many refused. They now have the opt out, but they admit they then squeeze you and yell at you to intimidate you.
Well, she said to me, I said, because I'm traveling with my wife. I say, no one's going to see me naked. No one's going to see my wife naked. I'm sorry, but we're going to go into this line. And she says, well, you better get used to it because they're going to be everywhere soon. And it was like this menacing, overpowering threat. Like, you just better get used to it, boy, because you're going to be naked before you like it or not. It was disgusting, Alex. And
this is totally to break our will and to train us to accept all of this. I mean, think of the magnitude of first it's your shoes and your belt and answer questions, and now it's a radiation scanner that top scientists admit will give you cancer, not to mention the radiation the TSA workers are getting. And now they're in the New York Times, they're in ABC News admitting that, don't want a body scan? Well, we're going to do the X-rated pat-down. That's what ABC News calls it. And they literally grab you. And Gary, I'm going to put you on hold for a few minutes while she tells her story. Then I want you to come back and comment on it. But I wanted to have into hour number 4, 8 minutes and 15 seconds in. Joe Rogan about to arrive. Got stuck in traffic. Have him for the balance of the hour. I'll be back live this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m., covering the open announcement of the plan to basically further devalue the currency and what that is going to do to our economy. And what Gary was saying is so important. The maker of the new film, Enemy of the State, is so central. The triggers, fake terror, wars, bioweapons releases, or a deadly flu. We know the government's using all of these as the cover story to put this control grid in, knowing, and we have this in the Department of Defense's own reports, they're putting all this in place beforehand for the financial collapse. Gary, we've got you back on a better line. Finish up breaking down what's in the film Enemy of the State.
Well, Alex, we wanted to, the film is called Enemy of the State. Who is the enemy of the state? Who are the people that are calling us the enemy of the state? And as you know, through the Meet the Patriots list, the Southern Poverty Law Center, their new connection to the Department of Homeland Security, they are one of the primary organizations who are targeting the American people who want to uphold the Constitution. So we have a nice chunk of the film that is dedicated to exposing the Southern Poverty Law Center for who they really are. And that's just a government-funded mouthpiece to destroy the Constitution of the United States.
Well said. Well said. And again, get into this security officer, police officers, people you interview in the film who have openly trained for the forced inoculations and roundups and FEMA camps.
Well, Travis Maddox, I said, we really hung our hat on the film. I mean, his interview was so powerful because he was trained by the Department of Homeland Security he was the guy who was going to come to your house, take you out, drag you down to the facility, strip you down naked, inject you, and then haul you off to the quarantine center. Okay? That's funded by FEMA and Homeland Security. But through a falsified pandemic scenario that the media hypes up. I mean, the whole outline for the trigger mechanisms, the extractions, the people involved, the ones who are targeting the American people are laid out in like a blueprint in this film.
Well, for anybody that's doubting we're going into a police state, the newest top story at prisonplanet.com, socialist MSNBC pundit, ban all guns in America. And we've got the clip. We're going to be playing it later if we have time, but it's up there. In the midst of an argument with Glenn Greenwald, MSNBC pundit Lawrence O'Donnell admits that he is a socialist who wants to ban all guns in America. He means in citizens' hands, not in the black uniforms' hands that will come and bring us the Red Terror. He wants to, quote, ban all guns in America while forcing Obamacare on everyone. I mean, these are just authoritarians. They're not liberals. I don't pretend that my views, which would ban all guns in America, makes Medicare available to all in America, have any chance of happening in the federal government.
Well, if there's any doubt in the American people's minds that they won't take people's guns away, they've done it before. We documented very heavily in the film about Hurricane Katrina. That poor old lady that got ransacked in her house. She got bum rushed in her kitchen.
Well, they sent troops into high and dry areas and put people in handcuffs and took their guns.
This is the America we live in, Alex.
We live in an America with naked body scanners and children being fondled by TSA. We live in a country where they secretly take babies' blood at birth for 39 years. We live in a country where the government thinks it's God and shoots black people, children, you name it, up with live syphilis and polio. And it's all admitted, and we're supposed to say, oh, they'll radiate foster children to death in radiation experiments. They'll shoot up little kids with syphilis. They'll nerve gas our own troops in Project Shad and kill them, but they wouldn't stage 9/11. No. They wouldn't steal the pension funds. No. They wouldn't steal the mortgages. No. The government's good, Gary. They care about us. Where do you see this going, Gary? All right, well, we lost his phone line. We've had a lot of technical little dings going on between the network and us today.